Hello, this is James Gaskin with Technology is Broken, How to Fix IT in Your Business. And we're about to talk to Dylan Mason and learn about earthquake mitigation. Dylan, how are you?
Oh, I'm good today.
Great. Well, tell us where I'm in Texas and we don't have a lot of earthquakes.
Sure.
Tell us about earthquake mitigation.
Sure. Well, up and down the West Coast and in Asia, earthquake mitigation is a serious continuity issue. And so WorkSafe Technologies provides an alternative to rigid bolting. Rigid bolting has pretty much been the standard in data centers for years, and it's just been that way, and no one ever really looks at alternatives. And so WorkSafe...
Let me get this straight. So they think bolting the expensive computers to the walls that are going to shake is somehow better.
Yeah, that's been the practice for years, and people just kind of have been going with the flow, and we provide an alternative to rigid bolting of the IT equipment.
Show us what this is exactly.
So, sure, this is a ball and cone technology, which is a base isolation platform by WorkSafe Technologies that acts as a filter and will filter out the vibrations that the energy will be passed out through the equipment.
So the horizontal shaking, which is most of the shaking in an earthquake, the horizontal shaking just gets transferred to rolling the equipment around, and the way the equipment dampens the activity.
The ball and cone technology has been around for years and is very well understood in the engineering industry. It's called the ball and cone. It's used in bridges and buildings around the world. I think the San Francisco City Hall building is base isolated. And here in Washington, the Office of Emergency Management at Camp Murray in Fort Lewis, the whole building is base isolated. So the technology is very well understood. This has just been miniaturized for small mass equipment and has become a huge success in Japan and during the Nisqually earthquake that happened here in 2001 in Seattle.
Now you have one rack on this base right now, but you can hold many racks on here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we take very specific measurements of the equipment that you have, and then we will build a platform for that equipment. Sometimes it's one standard cabinet, and sometimes for the Navy base, it's just a hodgepodge of different cabinets that we will build the platform for and then go on top of base isolation.
And what's the starting price for a company with one or two racks?
For one or two racks, you're looking at about $4,500, which is a fixed cost. This equipment will sit in place for 20, 30, 50 years until the next seismic event. So clients really like the fact that there is absolutely no maintenance cost involved.
So unlike software, there's not patches for this thing?
Nope, none at all.
And you said Tokyo or Japan is a big market.
Japan has been a huge success for us because what we've had is the ISO Base receive a JQA certification through shake table testing and other requirements the Japanese government requires, and then we were able to market our ISO Base platforms in Japan, and upon receiving the certification we had some initial interest, and we've gone through now 10 earthquakes in Japan with huge success stories of equipment that have gone through the earthquakes and performed as expected, where the equipment right next to it has been vibration damaged and failed. So it's been a great success story of what's happened in Japan.
Now, for your planning purposes, you need to leave a little bit of room on each direction for the shaking, I assume. Shake that a little bit more so we can see.
Sure. Well, what we have is an 8-inch diameter dish. So there'll be up to 8 inches of movement, which we need to be away from a fixed wall. We need 12 inches of slack in the cabling, and it also raises it up 3 inches. So there are some requirements that need to be addressed. But we have about 50,000 cabinets around the world on base isolation, and a lot of happy customers.
And you can put anything on here, but I assume people put things that are more prone to earthquake damage?
The requirements are vibration sensitive and mission critical. So not so much UPS, but more server SAN, tape libraries, anything vibration sensitive.
Well, hard disks are certainly vibration sensitive.
Sure, absolutely.
And you have hard disk arrays that go through earthquake events and come out without a problem.
Well, we've shake table tested stuff that was rigid bolted compared to the ISO Base, and it's been pretty amazing what happens to equipment that is rigid bolted compared to equipment that's on the ISO Base platform.
I'll shrink this around a little bit more for one more picture. There's a fair amount of clay, so I'm guessing that it would take a large event to shake a loaded cabinet this much.
Well, generally when a cabinet is fully loaded like this one would be, it would be 3 cabinets weighing maybe up to 6,000 pounds. And because it's a concurved disc, you're pushing uphill, and so if this was a fully loaded cabinet, it would hardly even move. But because it's empty, it moves very freely.
Which is great for the demonstration.
Absolutely.
Good. And of course, if a cabinet's bolted to the wall, then if the wall shakes, the cabinet shakes.
The cabinet, the equipment shakes, and that's where you get vibration damage.
And tall cabinets, do they shake more at the bottom or at the top when they're attached to the floor?
It's been found that the equipment at the top has the most vibration damage.
Kind of a whiplash effect?
Yep.
Great. Well, in case our viewers are in earthquake-sensitive zones, how can they find you and learn more about the...
Sure, we have representation in a number of different areas. St. Louis is a very seismically active area that not a lot of people think of. Northern California, Southern California, Portland and Seattle and British Columbia all have offices that can be found at WorkSafeTech.com or by ISO-base.com, and there's actually some very impressive videos on our website on shake table tests, and you can take a look at that on our website.
So that's WorkSafeTech.com?
Correct.
And ISO-base.com?
That's correct.
Great. Well, we've been talking to Dylan Mason and his earthquake mitigation equipment for Technology is Broken, how to fix IT in your business. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, James.